Okay. Let's see how we're gonna start this one, man. How are we gonna start this one? It's been a while. It's been a minute, and we got a different one on our hands because it's been a long time since we've watched a game without Derek Carr starting. Now that's the first thing right off top. Obviously, Derek Carr's not starting in this one. Jarrett Stidham's out there, and just to go all over a review of the game, of this post game going into overtime. Ultimately, we lost because the defense wasn't good enough to stop the 49ers offense. We couldn't stop the run game. That's the number one thing I would say. We could not stop the run game. Another thing is, number two, is Jarrett Stidham is too risky. He's too risky. It's just too much. Like sometimes you got to balance that out, that level of risk. And sometimes I feel as if when you watch him, he never looks to check it down. He never looks to take the safe route. So we definitely got to balance that out. So that's number two. Number three, that dude, he ain't scared. He ain't afraid. So that's the number three right there. Those are my top three. I can't say anything else about the game because ultimately it came down to the offense. Like I said, number one, man, that the offense really got to step it up. The defense. The defense got to step it up, and we've been talking about that all season. We know it's been a 20-year process to figure out what's up with this defense, man. And today they didn't step up and do it. These last 6 weeks, I believe they've held teams to under 20 points. I believe in those last 6 weeks. Today ended up not being the case. It was a tough one. This is the best team we played in a while as well. We can't act like the 49ers are weak. Their defense is number one for a reason. It's not a fluke either, right? You talk about the Broncos when we played them, they had the number one defense, but it wasn't complimentary strictly based on the fact their offense was garbage. Like, let's be honest, the Broncos' offense was garbage, their defense was good, and then at a certain point, they just took a turn for the worse and they just couldn't hold anymore because the offense is so bad. You talk about the 49ers, though, they're very complimentary. In the last 5 of 8 games, they've scored over 30 points. So it's not like this is the first time their offenses drove down the field and been able to put up points. No, in the last 5 of 8 games, they've scored more than 30 points. And I had looked that up myself and just seen like, okay, their offense is legit too. So I knew this game was going to be a tough one. And the fact that we came down to the wire, we put them to overtime. I mean, they shut teams out. I mean, 4 weeks ago, they shut a team out 13-0. I forgot who the team was. I think it was Washington, if I'm not mistaken. But the 49ers aren't no joke. They're not no joke. So the fact that we were able to go out there, push it to the limit, really give them a real deal test, which they were a real deal test for us, and we were to see what we have in Stidham. I'm really happy with what I saw from this Raiders team, especially the offense. So it is what it is. We took the L in overtime. It's all right. I'm not really that upset. Jarrett Stidham's first time starting out there. But on the other side, on the flip side of the coin, you got to talk about the fact that now you're going to start accumulating that Jarrett Stidham film. So was that kind of the fluke of this is his first time being on the field? There's no film on him yet. So will we see him continue to progress and be able to throw the balls that he was today, or will the tape come out and then it's beginner's luck will show? I don't know, man. Y'all let me know down in the comments. Let me hop into this real quick. Shout out to everybody in here. We're already over 200 deep. Appreciate everybody being in the building, man. If y'all not subscribed, make sure y'all subscribe. What y'all think? Let me see. Got Pluto Mars. Shout out to you. He says Stidham is the future. I don't know yet, man. I'm not too convinced. Excuse me. I'm not too convinced. Can't even get mad, bro. What a game. And that's how I'm feeling, Edgar. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Our guy Herman Munster in the building. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, dog. 500 total yards from the offense. And you can't complain or say that, Stidham was the problem per se, because, I mean, he was out there doing what he needed to do. The offense put up a lot of yards. They didn't only put up a lot of yards. The red zone offense didn't look as bad as what we're used to seeing. I mean, let's be honest. The red zone offense looked a lot better in this game that we've seen with Derek Carr. I mean, that's the blatant obvious right there for me. Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams. That dude's a stud. He just catches everything within his radius. Some people may say it was a catch or wasn't a catch of that last one, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because the Niners won. But you talk about Waller being able to get involved in today. Him and Stidham were able to get a connection. I like to see that. Renfro got a pass. So it's not like we just seen everything go into one player. It was really spread. The ball was spread around a lot. So that's very exciting to see. Stidham isn't locked in on anybody. He's trying to call a game based on what he wants to do, not just based on trying to feed Davante Adams or has to feed off of the run game, because he was able to do it before the run game got established. We were able to feed off each other in that aspect. We haven't seen that really consistently this year either. So I'm glad to see that, most definitely. Adam Gerald says, same as Carr. Carr wins in OT, though. Well, we had lost this year in most of our overtime games. So how can you say that? Good game ain't mad. That's exactly how I'm feeling. Appreciate everybody in here. Happy New Year's to everybody in the building as well, man. Appreciate y'all pulling up. Raider season says, better than Carr, and don't even expect Jarrett Stidham to be the future starter. Yeah, it's hard to say. I want to see some more from this quarterback. I definitely want to see more. Shout out to our guy, Halo. He says, well, hey, I'm not even mad, though, man. Eric Delp, Patrick Graham needs to go. Yeah, Patrick Graham, I don't know if today is the day to say he needs to go. Okay, there we go. There it is. He needs to go. That's what he says. Mr. Mart in the building. He says, can blame McDaniels? You can or can't? Can or can't? Stidham is legit. Still no audio? You still can't hear me? Can y'all still not hear me? Let me know. Let me know. Give me that thumbs up. Make sure the audio is good. Thought I had fixed it. But I think it should be solid now. Should be solid. Definitely should be solid. Don't forget to hit that like button, y'all, if y'all can. Make sure to hit that like button. He says, you're a goof. Shout out to you, Rat Pack guy. Appreciate you. Stay focused. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. There we go. Let's get it. Let's get it. Miguel says, look at them 49er fans in our stadium. Hey, I had a feeling they was going to pack it out. Let's be honest. Hello, brother says, salute. Happy New Year to you, brother. Tough loss. Offense played good. Defense didn't show up today. Definitely. That's basically the narrative right there. And it's the facts, though. At the same time, it's the facts. Defense really didn't show up. They did and they didn't. I mean, you talk about some of those lucky passes that they was able to get. How many times did Purdy throw the ball? It was batted up in the air and we did not get the interception. I mean, he did throw one pass to Amik Robertson that was able to intercept it. And at that point, I feel like that's where we had our chance, because after that, you did not see Purdy doing anything. And I want to look up those stats, as a matter of fact, man. We got to look at them stats, because after that, Purdy was not able to do anything. He was not able to do a damn thing. Now, when you talk about Stidham, the entire game, he was able to move the ball, I feel like, the entire game. There was a couple of throws, a couple of those interceptions that were obviously a little shaky, but he's that risk taker type of guy, and that's what I think he's going to have to tone down on here shortly. Let's be honest. Let's move down. Let's move down. John Q says, got it figured out at quarterback. I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I feel like I need to see more than one game. Definitely need to see more than one game. We have another game next week against the Chiefs. I mean, we could play another close one, but if we don't win, we're still in the same boat. Let's be honest. We're still in the same boat if we don't win next week against the Chiefs. Rap Hat Guy says our defense sucks. Most definitely. I think we know that for sure. Y'all must be talking shit to each other, maybe. I don't know. Raider Gamer says you're a joke guy. I'd rather Stiddy instead of Brady. Like I said, I need to see more from Jarrett Stidham besides this game. But it is a good test. It is a good test, to say the least, to go up against the 49ers. Risen says Stidham played well considering it was his first real start. He played well in the face of the best defensive football. Most definitely, man. That pressure was getting there too, and he was able to stand up in the pocket strong. Be able to deliver some passes that, you know, like that late touchdown pass in the first half, in a 2-minute drive, I believe it was. He was able to get that deep ball to Davante Adams, and boy, he took a hit. Let's be honest. And I feel like in other cases, some quarterbacks would have thrown it away right there. Some quarterbacks probably would have thrown it in the dirt, thrown it out of bounds, ran out of bounds in that case. But Stidham stood up and he waited right there on the sideline instead of running out of bounds, throwing it away. He was able to deliver a strike to Davante Adams. And that's what we've been wanting. Stidham decision. His decision making is cool. It's cool, but at the same time, He's too much of a risk taker. Carr stands gotta see, but they'll say Carr would have won it. Yeah, I don't know if Carr's even putting up that much points against the 49ers. Let's be honest. Carr would not have got us there. Yeah, I don't think so either. Way better play calling today. You can say that. You can kind of say that, but at the same time, I don't feel like it's that much different. I feel like people are looking at the game and saying that it's better play calling because the plays were executed at a higher level. And I think that's only based on the fact that Stidham is able to be way more agile. I mean, when he had the play action pass and the defender was right in his face, he was still able to get the ball out to Moreau, and he was able to continue to get some yak yards. In other cases, the other fucking quarterback, he throws that in the dirt. Like, let's be honest. He's throwing it in the dirt. He's not being able to complete that pass because someone's in his face. Like, I feel like that was the huge difference today. Ray Love says the O-line trash, defense still trash. I agree. The O-line today played definitely terrible, but I feel as if that's the effects of going up against a really good defense. In my opinion, that's just what it is. The offensive line has played pretty well throughout this season. They've played at least average or above average. Now, today, they've gotten beaten up, but they were going up against the Niners. I mean, we have to take into consideration that those guys are getting paid as well. I remember hearing, you know what I mean, that when we were playing, who was it we were playing? It wasn't the Chargers. Someone had got a pick six, and they were saying, well, the defense just made a good play. And I'm thinking in my mind of this game, well, yeah, the defense is going to make good plays because that's a good defense. Like, the Niners are for real legit. They're the number one defense in the league. They're only allowing 15 points per game. If you go look at the stats, before they played us, they were allowing 15 points per game. We put up double that. And they haven't allowed more than 30 points in 9 weeks. It's been 9 weeks since last time they've let up 30 points. And that was against the Chiefs 9 weeks ago when the Chiefs put up 44 against them. Now, when you talk about the other side, like I was saying, the Niners have scored 30-plus points in 5 of their last 8 games. So more than half of their last 8 games, they've scored more than 30 points. So it's not like we should have gone into this one thinking, oh, this is going to be an easy one. We should be able to stop their offense easily. We should be able to score on them easily. I don't think that's really the case, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If y'all can, make sure to hit that thumbs up, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, man. Appreciate y'all being in here. Shout out to everybody pulling up. Make sure to hit that like. We got to at least have 300 likes. I feel like if you got over 300 people, only 10 minutes deep in here, just wanted to pull up and talk a little bit about this post game, about this overtime game against the Niners, because I feel as if the talk is really going to be based on the Stidham play. You know what I mean? He threw a couple of interceptions. How do we feel about the interceptions, man? Carr is sacked 10 times. I believe that's the case as well. I definitely believe that's the case. I think he would have got sacked a lot more than Stidham did today. He's not taking as many hits as Stidham is. And that's another thing of having a younger quarterback is that he probably will take those hits. And as he gets older, he's going to learn that he can't take them. You talk about when he's rushing down there towards the goal line and he was able to get that first down. He took a hit. He did not slide. He was stayed up and he took a hit. That right there is something an older quarterback probably won't do. Perriman would have won that game. We definitely needed Perriman. But let's talk about the defense, all right? People were saying the defense sucked today and whatever the case may be, which they didn't play well. But let's think about where our defense stands right now, right? Let's think about where our defense stands. You talk about Denzel Perriman is hurt. He's out for the rest of the season, right? Denzel Perriman is out for the rest of the season. Jayon Brown is hurt. He's out for the rest of the season. Diablo, I don't even know what happened to Devon Diablo. Can someone tell me what happened to Devon Diablo? So we're talking about 3 guys that were projected starters for this defense in Diablo, Perriman, and Jayon Brown, and none of them are out there to start. You want to talk about our edge rushers and Chandler Jones? That's 4 linebackers. So you're talking about 4 linebackers starting on this defense are out. We're down to practice squad players like I don't even know his name, number 56. What's that guy name? Number 56, Langan. I don't even know his name. Langy. Number 56, Langy is starting for us, or he's out there getting reps. Who the hell is that? I don't know who that is. So you talk about we have players like that out there. We're all the way down to Masterson and Butler as well. So this defense isn't like it's all intact. Our guy starting corner and Rocky Sin, he had went out as well. So that's another guy that's out. Tyler Hall and Teamer are in there now. So it's not like this defense is really all that. And they obviously we need to get more talent over there because when you consider the offense got a lot of talent. Why can't the defense, right? So defense still has to step up. Jay Schilling in the building. Appreciate your super chat. He says, Stiddy. Yeah, man. I still need to see more from Jarrett Stidham. It's that simple. I just need to see more from Jarrett Stidham. I need to see that he can be balanced and not always risk it. Now, today it was a close game. So I see, okay, you're going to probably want to risk it. You're going to want to try and force the ball down a lot more. It's a really good defense, and you're trying to trust your one. He's trusted his O-line, Jarrett Stidham did. Two, he was trusting his receivers like a mother effer, man. He was trusting those receivers like he had every receiver was Devontae Adams. So I do like to see that. Murrow seems to have some chemistry with Stidham as well. So that's very good. Let me catch up to the chat though, man. Appreciate everybody in the building. Like I said, if y'all can, make sure to rate that like button. Go hit that like button, y'all. Y'all know what it is. John C with the super. Shout out to John C, man. Appreciate you being here with us. Tough one today. Tough one today. You see, Stidham did great. Our guy Clone Revenger says Stidham did great. Our defense is using third stringers. So yeah, that's pretty much all I was thinking as well. Avenger. It's a tough one. It's a very tough one. Uncle Rico said we got rid of the problem and we still lost. Well, I feel like this was like really the ultimate test. If we would have kept Carr, do you guys think we win this game? Like, let's be honest. I don't think we do. I don't even think the game goes as close as it was today if we have kept Carr. I feel like if we had Carr, we probably would have got blown out. Let's be honest. I feel like it would have been a tougher one. Diablo was all hype. I knew he wouldn't be good. Diablo been on IR, right? I don't know where Diablo is. Honestly, he might be on IR, but it's been that long. And honestly, I did have a tweet a long time ago. I felt like Diablo was injury prone. I feel like he was injury prone. So if he is on IR, that's very unfortunate, man. Langy, I think that is him. Shout out to Raider Chaos. I think that is Langley. Is it Langley or Langy? Whatever it is, man. I ain't even tripping off really what his name is. But that's the thing. That's what we got playing on our defense. Like, think about it. That's what we got playing on our defense. People we don't even know the people's names, man. Sunner River says Hobbs was ass. And I talked about this. I believe it was a couple of weeks ago when Hobbs had came back. And it was a concern of mine is that when Hobbs had came back off of IR, I feel like he was not the same player. Nate Hobbs, I know he's still a good player. He's still a good player. I don't think he's completely fell off, but I feel as if I don't know what happened during IR that time. I feel like he lost his groove, and maybe he needs to get back into the fundamentals of things because we have been seeing poor play from Nate Hobbs. So shout out to Sun or River for bringing that back up. I wouldn't say he's complete ass though. He just needs to get back into his rhythm, maybe. Boogie says we need to stock up on linebackers this offseason. 100% agree. 100% agree, man. I definitely still want to go after a linebacker in the draft. Defensive tackle in the draft. But maybe we can find a linebacker. I mean, you talk about teams that pick up linebackers later in like the second day. Third round pick, linebacker usually becomes a starter. We should be able to find that. But I do want a dominant defensive tackle because we need help in that linebacker room. We need help in that linebacker room. Defensive tackle room. I keep getting those two mixed up. We need help in the D tackle room because we cannot stop the run. I know we got Matthew Butler. I know we got Andrew Billings. I know we got Neil Farrell Jr. We picked up the dude from the Chargers, Jerry Tillery, whatever his name is. It's not enough. It's not enough. Keep stacking the chips up there. I mean, we just played against a team that literally does that. They do that exact thing. They continue to draft defensive linemen and just make their defensive line stacked. And that's what we need to do. We got Max Crosby. Even if Chandler Jones doesn't retire and he comes back, we got to stack on the defensive line and continue to do that and get the best available players possible. Shout out to our guy, Raider Andy. He says he knows the system and can help teach whoever is drafted. It's a win-win and cheaper option. I don't disagree with that. We traded for Stidham as well, so might as well put him to damn use. Put that man to work. And honestly, Tomb Raider, what are you talking about? He says, damn, right, give him a break. I'm not sure what we're talking about. Oh, Hobbs? You must be talking about Hobbs. Must be talking about Hobbs. Them starters were trash. Can juice too. Mhm. I mean, the defense got some people out there that shouldn't be out there. I mean, that's all I can say. Shout out to Schoolie Pictures, man, for the super chat. He says Kardashians on a certain channel calling the game a rigged game because it looked like Jared Stidham was going to win the game. Imagine calling it a rigged game on your own team. Who was that, Schoolie Pictures? Was that Wi-Fi? Because I feel like the only person right now that's still pushing like some narrative is Wi-Fi. I feel like that's the only person that's really pushing that out. Because he said Wi-Fi Willie is a fake fan. No point bringing up that name. So it must be Wi-Fi Willie. No, I don't think Wi-Fi Willie's a fake fan. I think he just likes Carr a lot. And some of these people get blinded by the fact that Carr, yes, he was one of the better quarterbacks for the Raiders. And I'm still a fan of Carr. I don't think he's a bad, terrible quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I was very critical of him, and I still am. I criticized him. And at the same time, he's not a terrible quarterback. And I think a lot of people agree with that. But he just isn't fitting the bill as far as pushing this team to the next level, getting over that hump, having some juice, having that it factor, having that motivation to push people, and having that character to just be hyped and have fun. I feel like we needed that. He was just seasoned vet guy. And, I mean, some people are blinded by their fandom for Carr over their Raider fandom. And I've been seeing that going around. And it's sad because these are the same people that are saying, oh, I hope Derek Carr does the Raiders bad so they don't get draft picks and they lose out. And I'm thinking in my head, if you're a Raiders fan, why the hell would you want to lose out on draft picks so Derek Carr could do whatever he's about to do? Like, I don't know, man. That's pathetic. Yeah, I don't know about that. Brian Chavez with the super. He says, offense was fun to watch today. It's been a minute. It was fun. And I love the fact that we have somebody mobile in the backfield, and Jared Stidham. He was really moving his legs. He was using his legs. How many rushing yards did that man have today? Let me go to the box score. How many rushing yards did our guy Jared Stidham have today? And it looked like Jared Stidham went 7 carries for 34 yards. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. You talk about Josh Jacobs has 17 carries for 69 yards and a touchdown. Jared Stidham went 34 attempts. Bit my tongue. Holy smokes. 34 attempts. He went 23 for 34, 365 yards, 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Now, when you talk about his passing stats, I feel like they look like Carr's. Let's be honest. I feel like they look like Carr's, especially I think this is kind of exactly how it looked against the Seahawks. If I'm not mistaken, these are kind of similar stats to when Derek Carr played the Seahawks. And Stidham just did the same thing against the Niners defense. And those are completely two ends of the spectrum when we're talking about defensive talent. So maybe Jared Stidham playing against a weaker defense will look a lot better. I mean, today, like I said, number 1 defense. So we'll see what happens against next week against the Chiefs if we have a shootout again. Today they had a shootout with the Broncos. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Let me scroll down, catch up to our guy Ruben Rust with another super chat. He says, this team has so many holes. Will we even be able to make a push next year? Linebacker, defensive tackle, edge rush, O-line, cornerback, free safety, quarterback, Hobbs and Merrick haven't stepped up. So ultimately, in my opinion, man, I feel as if we don't have that many holes. I know a lot of people will say that we have a lot of holes to fill, but I think in the way I'm thinking about it is you have to solve one thing at a time. One thing at a time. When you start to do too many things, then you start to create band-aids because you're trying to spread the money so thin, or the value or compensation, currency, whatever you're using, you spread it so thin that now you're getting average at every spot instead of focusing on one problem, which I would say the defense. I would only focus on the defense this offseason, in my opinion. I wouldn't even worry about quarterback. I would ultimately worry about the defense. Fix the defense. Go out there, get your defensive tackle first, then get your linebacker. Because if you get that defensive tackle that you need, he's going to help Max Crosby. He's going to help everything else. And at that point, he's going to make this safety look better. He's going to make the cornerback look better. I think we need to continue building in the trenches because Nate Hobbs will have to cover for half a second less. These corners like Amik Robertson will have to cover half a second less. Merrick as well. Doesn't mean we don't draft these positions, but at the same time, those valuable picks, that valuable cap currency, whatever you want to talk about, first round, second round pick are probably the 2 most important. Then you talk about paying guys $15 to $20 million a year with the cap that we have. We wouldn't want to focus that ultimately on the defense. That's what I'm saying. Now, you talk about a 4th-round pick or an extra 3rd-round pick or whatever the case may be. Yeah, then you can start talking about picking up maybe a quarterback or, a cornerback, then those positions. But ultimately, on the valuable stuff, we have to go in the trenches, brother. We have to go in the trenches, in my opinion. But I agree with everything he's saying. 100%. Shout out to our guy Pharaoh in the building. He says, Happy New Year's to you, bro, and Raider Nation. Shout out to you, guy. I appreciate you pulling up. I definitely wanted to pull up yesterday. Man, but I ain't gonna cap, bro. I had got a bottle of Belvedere. Y'all know I don't be drinking like that, so I got a bottle of Belvedere, got in late, and was chilling with the family and cracked that thing open. So I was a little chill. You feel me? Shout out to our guy KG pulling up on us. 199 super sticker. Appreciate you very much supporting the channel. We just getting it in, man. We just getting it in. Over 400 people in here. If y'all can, make sure to hit that like button, rate that like button so we can get this thing popping. Shout out to Scully Pictures as well. Again with the super chat. He says, this is the first game where we lost, and I was not mad. In fact, I was proud of our Raiders. I can agree with you, and I think it was because the expectations have come down. Let's be honest. If we could compete with Jared Stidham and we only have to pay him $5 million opposed to paying Derek Carr $35 million, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? If we can get production out of Stidham, paying him $5 million versus paying another quarterback $30 to $35 million, I think it's a no-brainer to take Stidham at that point. Now, I mean, I agree with you, and I said it at the beginning of this. I'm not mad at what we've seen. Definitely not mad. Shout out to all the people in the chat, though, man, especially a lot of the regulars. Dre the Great in here. Defense is depleted. Yes, it is depleted. We are taking a lot of injuries on defense out of the ball. This loss, man. This loss hurt, man. I think what Coach G was trying to say. And I'm not really tripping off of this. I'll be honest, man. I feel as if the expectations weren't that high and they exceeded them. So I'm just excited about that. Definitely excited about that. Mateo says Wi-Fi is tripping, bro. It's laughable as F. Yeah, I mean, Wi-Fi is doing his thing. He's really come up in the YouTube game. So shout out to Wi-Fi because he's accomplished a lot. Still cool with bro, but I definitely don't agree with his narrative. He's definitely good and creative at being able to push a narrative. He definitely is. So shout out to Wi-Fi, man. But, everybody's going to have different opinions. I remember when me and Graf had different opinions on Derek Carr last year. We would go at it all the time. This year, me and Hansel have had different agreements. So it's crazy how it switches, Last year, I was a supporter of Carr, and I definitely felt as if he had the shit under the stick when you talk about losing Ruggs. We were 5-2. You lose Ruggs, you lose your coach. And then all of a sudden, he still made the playoffs. So I definitely was in support of him. But this past offseason, I made several videos talking about the fact that I don't feel he had any excuses anymore. You're a veteran. I don't care if it's a new system. You're getting Devontae Adams. You're getting Josh Jacobs, Waller, all these people. And you still shit the bed at the end of the day, or you're still playing as if like Jared Stidham did today and we're paying you $35 million or more. And that's when I was like, yeah, you got to cut the shit, bro. So Black Sunday, he says, Carr would have had 4 picks, 2 fumbles, sacked 8 times today. He probably would have had a couple of fumbles. I agree with that. I think he would have had a couple of fumbles. He would have got sacked a lot more. And he probably would have thrown a couple of picks as well. But you never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get when it comes to Derek Carr. Let's be honest. You never know what you're going to get. Happy New Year's to our brother Ray Love, and Happy New Year's to everybody that's in here, man. Happy New Year's to everybody that's in here, man. Shout out to the whole Raider Nation. Appreciate everybody being in here. I hope you guys had a good, safe, fun night last night. I know I just passed out. I ain't going to cap. I had a 12-hour shift. I just passed out. Let's be honest. Raider Primo says, Stidham balled out and, man, went toe-to-toe with the Niners' #1 defense. It hurts, but, man, I hope for the future. Zeke needs to fix the defense and the O-line. And I agree with you, man. And we've been talking about it this whole entire live. The fact that Jared Stidham balled out. But I want to see what he could do against the Chiefs. I want to know if this #1 defense was just forcing them to be too risky because we weren't able to be comfortable enough to be able to take some passes underneath rather than always feeling like he had to flail and throw the ball up, because we did see that in the preseason. Do you guys remember when he got hit in the preseason, the ball went flying in the air and Keelan Cole was able to catch the ball? And I'm afraid this is what Stidham kind of does. He does that kind of thing to where he's risky. You can see he's trying to get the ball downfield, but it's not enough time, and he just risks throwing it up, and then it just lobs and flails. I don't like that. That's too much. He needs to weed that out of his game so we can continue to, control the football a little bit more, a little bit better, because sometimes we didn't have to take those risks. It wasn't even third down, and we would take those risks. So definitely would like to see him take a step back on that. Shout out to our guy Silver Surfer says cars in a dark cloud lifted from over us. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Yeah, I'll be honest. Farrell says Stidham, rookie quarterback, and another vet. Let the best man win the position. I 100% agree. That would be the best formula for success in theory, in my opinion. You talk about Stidham. He's already showing us what he's going to have this year. So that right there is going to be a piece that, all right, you guys are going to have to win over the position over Stidham. That's what I would think. You bring in a veteran because you need that older guy. You always need the OG around. If you're never around an OG and you're only around a bunch of young cats, then you got to reevaluate what you're really doing, man, because you always got to have an older cat around you that can feed you some game and some things that they've seen that you will have not seen yet in your life, or whether it's football, whatever the case. So you got to have that veteran in there. Then you bring in a rookie quarterback, that boom or bust kind of player. You bring in a guy that, look, he has a huge ceiling. He has all the tangibles you want, physical attributes, like you're tall, you got a strong arm, you're mobile, you're not weak, you're going to be able to hold on to the football. Now you just have to work on a few fundamentals. So that would be a good quarterback room. Those three kind of players right there. 100% agree with our guy, Farrell NFL. Jerry West, I'm bitter as F. Nothing will change with McDaniels. You don't think so? I think we're seeing something, but we need to see it one more time against the Chiefs. All right. Quiet as it's kept, Stiddy reminded me of Gannon today a little bit. I hear you. He was able to move, hit some guys, take some hits. I definitely hear you, man. Shout out to our guy Farrell. Yes, sir. He was able to hit the nail on the head on that tape. Definitely agree with him on that. Y'all saying DC would have all those bad plays today, but I know one thing: he would have led the game-winning TD and OT. He's 10-1. No. I don't know if he would have done that because this year he hasn't been able to do that. Let's be honest. Scully Picture says Jarrett Stidham did what Carr was never good at, going through his progressions. I mean, Carr was always just had a short clock, and I think it was a lot of it was about the fact that he didn't want to get hurt, he didn't want to get hit, and he was always. Every time he got hit, it seemed like it was going to be an injury that was going to keep him out for a while, but then he would just go to the sideline for a play and then come back in and be okay. So, maybe sometimes he was a little dramatic. I'll be honest. Sometimes he was dramatic. Shout out to our guy BC in the building. He says at least looked more natural on runs. Definitely did. He looked quick too. He didn't run. And this is funny. Our guy Scout, shout out to Scout. I seen him on Twitter. He said, Derek Carr ran a faster 40 than Jarrett Stidham, but in the game speed is different, man. Game speed is different, and you definitely seen a difference out there. The Raiders says we had punts here and there, but the offense overall was never stagnant. Didn't have any long periods of 3-and-outs. That was the biggest difference for me. Shout out to the Raiders, man, because I totally agree. And would you even say that the red zone offense looked better? You guys let me know in the comments. Did you guys notice whether the red zone offense was playing better? I thought it looked better. I thought it did. The pass to Devontae Adams, the run by Josh Jacobs. I just wanted to see the quarterback sneak instead of that halfback lead run that was stuffed by the Niners on the 1-yard line. Definitely would have wanted to see a quarterback sneak there. But I agree. We didn't have those long droughts. We didn't. And usually in the second half, we don't score. We start to punt the ball. We become stagnant. And today we didn't see that. Man. Raider Andy in the building. Shout out to you folks. He said, I think his competition was DC. To me, he looks as mobile as DC was before the injury. I'd keep him. And he can train the new guy if we get one, in my opinion. What do you think? Now, I think Jarrett Stidham just has to show a lot more. But at the same time, if we draft a guy, depending on who we draft, it's going to be a real competition in the quarterback room. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion ultimately. You get a quarterback later in the draft, like a third or a fourth round, then I think it's going to be competitive in there. But if we obviously draft a guy in the first round, if somehow like CJ Stroud slips or something like that, they slip to us and we end up drafting a quarterback in the first, then I think it's more obvious and evident that we're going to go forward with that first round, because they had Stidham over in New England, but they still had Mac Jones play. So, we have to kind of think about that at the same time. I got Frank White in the building. He says, if you add young talent to this group that we already have, we're a playoff team next year. I kind of agree, man. As long as we can add some real talent to the defense, I think that's where we're going. I think that's where we're headed. Let me catch up real quick to the chat. I am a little bit behind, but I appreciate y'all being in here with us. Shout out to everybody, man. If y'all can, make sure to hit that like button. Go rate the like button. Hit the sub button if you want to see more videos. It's been 35 minutes. I'm going to chop it up a little bit more. 805 said, I like what I saw from Stidham. I'm excited about next year. Yeah, we'll see if he's the quarterback too, man. We'll see if he's the quarterback out here. Brute Warrior, the scramble drill for Adams' touchdown was everything. Reset his feet and took the hit. Carr's footwork is the worst in the NFL. Carr's footwork, I feel like, got destroyed by Gruden. When Gruden started teaching Derek Carr to throw the football without taking a step, or basically, I remember when Derek Carr, and they talked about it, and they had the footage as well, and I remember watching it. Derek Carr would train to throw without moving his feet, basically throwing from a planted stance. And I just thought that was a weird technique to throw from a planted stance within the pocket. Now, I understand sometimes the pocket will collapse. You can't step up, and then you have to do that. But every time I feel like it became normal for him to kind of not take a step and just to keep his feet planted even when he had space. So I think that was a huge problem when he had learned that from John Gruden. Farrell says, what round are you drafting a quarterback? This is a good question, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If you guys want to draft a quarterback, if you're one of those people, put in the chat right now, what round would you want to draft a quarterback? Now, I think this is very I don't know if subjective would be the right word or right term, but I feel as if, okay, if a guy slips in the first to where you're going to pick, let's say we pick 8, 7 or something like that. If a quarterback slips like a CJ Stroud who performed well against Georgia, then I think it's a no-brainer that you go pick him up. That's just my opinion. Maybe not a no-brainer if you feel as if Jarrett Stidham's fine and you want to go defense and like a guy that's very good on the defense side of the ball, let's say Will Anderson or just something like that, right? Ends up slipping, then obviously you got to go pick up that guy. So I think it's just it just depends, right? You never know how those quarterbacks are going to fall, and they'll completely shift the entire board. Let's be honest. They'll shift the entire board when we're talking about the draft, especially if those quarterbacks don't get picked up early. No, he wouldn't have. Shout out to Pizzle. I hear y'all going back and forth. Bear says, Brute Warrior, 110%. Couldn't agree more. Shout out to Bear, man. Lorenzo W., I don't think we would have went to OT, but who cares? They lost as they lost. Yeah, I feel you on that, Lorenzo. L's an L, right? An L's an L, but I think this is just an evaluation point. I think for a lot of us Raider fans is that it's just an evaluation point. EJ in the building, shout out to our brother. He says, same result with the quarterback being paid much less. This is kind of where I was at with it, EJ. Exactly where I was at. And I feel as if we're giving another guy a chance in a good evaluation point, especially against the 49ers. Like, let's be honest. 49ers is no joke. A lot of us don't like the Niners, but they're no joke. Classic Man Q, shout out to our guy Q. He says 3 out of 5 in the red zone, just need a better defense. This is what I'm saying. Red zone defense did look better. Shout out to our guy Q. Appreciate you pulling up that stat. Kenny in the building. Shout out to DC. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is. Rocking steady with us. He says that 4th and inches was big. Previously, play should have dove. I know Carr wouldn't have tucked, but would have thrown it out of bounds. Yeah, I feel like we should have went quarterback sneak on that. I feel like we need to start utilizing that, especially the fact that, Stidham is able to hold on to the ball. Let's be honest. I'm seeing some people saying Chase Garbers is amazing too. He's set for life at quarterback if we CJ Stroud to our bunch. I don't know. We'll see. First round, Anthony Richardson. Oh, damn. First round for Frank White. So a lot of people want to go first round. Neither one of those picks was on him. It was the O-line. I hear you, man. At the end of the day, we can't. I feel you on that. I'll just go there. Jalen Carter. Let's not waste Max Prime. I agree with you, Bonilla. I just wonder where Jalen Carter is right now as far as his health, as far as where his production is. I just wonder what's going on with him in Georgia. Keep the faith. Shout out to our guy, Mark. Kawaharada. I hope I said that right. That sounds crazy. Mark Kawaharada. Shout out to you, man. MK. I'm gonna call you Mark K for right now. Mark Carr. I'm gonna call you Carr. Mark Carr, man. Shout out to you. Appreciate you dropping a super, brother. Yes. Raider Max says, yes, it's time past time. Okay. First round quarterbacks or reaches. That's what I'm thinking right now. I don't think we're going to be able to get a quarterback in the first round. We got the number 7 pick right now. So that's what I'm thinking. Picks number 7 or number 8 is what it sounds like. First 3 downs, we need defense, then quarterback. I would like to get a quarterback late. Depending on how our drafts fall, how our draft picks fall, if we get anything for Derek Carr, think the Jalen Hurts was drafted in the second round. We can potentially pick up a guy later in the second round or the third round. We don't always have to go for the big time first round quarterback. John James in the building says, hey, Ray, so do we get a veteran to start next year and draft a quarterback in the later rounds or go with Stidham as a starter next season? I think as of right now, man, honestly, we only could look at Stidham. I feel like that's all we could do. We don't have a quarterback that we've drafted, so it's not like there's a guy that we're looking at to replace him yet. And then you talk about a veteran. I don't see a veteran that we bring in to replace Stidham. Brady, potentially. If we brought in Brady, I don't know how that would work out because, I mean, then you're kind of the shoot. You know what I mean? You're stepping on Stidham's toes, in my opinion, at that point. But it is what it is. And I know some people say, how do you step on Stidham's toes? Well, is this like an evaluation of Stidham, or is this more not just him playing quarterback until we find our quarterback this offseason? I think that's the ultimate question. Stidham looks like he belongs. Okay. Stidham a free agent? I don't know if he'll be. We'll see. We'll see what happens, man. I'm ready for the Raiders to have a great defense. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. We're gonna have to just put a lot of our compensation or whatever you want to call it, our draft capital, our cap space. We're gonna have to use it on defense. Stidham was a young bull out there. Biggest difference was he is willing to take a hit to make a completion, and also his footwork and scramble skills were next level compared to what we're used to. I 100% agree. I think a lot of people in the chat would agree with you as well, man. Edgar Bonilla says this L was more impressive than all 6 of our wins. Oof. Let me think about that one. More impressive than any wins. I don't know if an L can be more impressive because I feel like our defense was abysmal. I mean, our defense looked like shit. Let's be honest. At the end of the day, I think it was impressive to see Stidham be able to go out there and do that against the number 1 defense. That's what I will say. That was definitely impressive. You feel me? So I hear you on that. J Rod in the building says, Ray, we should play Stids all season next year and draft D this year and draft Williams next year. Now, the thing with I think you're talking about Williams out of USC, Caleb. I don't know if we're going to be able to grab him. I don't think we're going to have the number 1 pick. And whoever has the number 1 pick, if they need a quarterback, they're going to take him. And I'm sure the top 3 teams in the draft are going to take Caleb Williams. So unless something crazy happens and he falls off and we want to go ahead and still take him, I don't know if that's really going to happen. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. I think Stidham would be cool enough to where we would be able to win a few games with Stidham, to say at the least, based on what we've seen today. But again, we need to see more consistency, though. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Brute Warrior, Saints World says Caleb isn't draft eligible until 2024. Yeah, so I believe that's what he was saying, man. Shout out to Bruce Davis, man. Happy New Year's to you, and Happy New Year's to everybody in the chat as well. Brute Warrior, he says, if you play this roster with Stidham, we will be in the playoffs. We'll see, man. We'll see. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I got to see more. I keep saying it, but I got to see more. Not like Richard. I don't know if y'all caught that joke. Seymour, like Seymour Richard Seymour. Just kidding. Maji said, if Carr would have had this game with the same result, how would people be right now? People would be upset. And let me tell you why. This is why you have to differentiate the quarterback play. Stidham has been a career backup as of yet. He's been a backup. I mean, he's been in the league for 4 years, and he's been a backup the whole time. He goes in, He's only getting what, 4.5 mil on the cap hit. So you're talking about you're paying a guy 4.5 million. He's been a backup, and he goes out there and he performs the same way that your 9-year, $35 million veteran quarterback that started every single game in his career, barring the injuries, obviously. And you're going to compare him to that. So that's where you have to differentiate. I mean, do you want a 9-year veteran that's getting older? You have to pay him $30 million, $35 million, and he's playing the same way as a career backup that's getting 4.5. So that's where you kind of have to differentiate. You can't just, you know what I mean, put them at the same expectations. You can't hold them to the same caliber, the same expectations, the same whatever you want to call it. It doesn't make sense. Turd Ferguson is not 35 million, but 20 million. So he's getting 20 million this year. I get that. But at the end of the day, going into next year is going to be $35 million cap hit. So yeah, I get it. This year he's 20, but we're talking about in comparison of why we benched him. So in context, you have to put everything in context. I mean, I get it though. It's 20 this year. You can't compare after one game. That's ridiculous. And I agree with that. That's why I said we need to bring in Richard and Seymour. You feel me? George says it don't matter if they're not winning. Yeah, I mean, at the same time, it does and it doesn't. He took a $15 million pay cut to bring in Adams. I don't know if he really took a $15 million pay cut to bring in Adams. I don't know about that. If you know McDaniel's system for 4 years, he definitely is held at the same level. That doesn't, no. That's not how stuff works. That's definitely not how stuff works. I don't think that's how things work. That's kind of funny. Carr is a career backup impersonating a starter. I don't know. I think Carr is just above average quarterback. That's as far as I'll go. I want to go back to this comment, though, from Sandy May. She says, if you know McDaniel's system for 4 years, he's definitely held at the same level. And for me, it doesn't really make sense, because then you're almost saying that any team could get a quarterback, keep him in a system for so many years, and they'll be as good as a 9-year veteran. That's getting paid as a top quarterback, getting paid 35 a year, 20 in this case, but going to be a cap hit of 35 next year. So I don't know if that really makes sense. I don't know, man. It is what it is. Pushing Poise Prize says Carr for 34 million next year, or Stiddy for 1 million. Yeah, give me Stiddy so we can build a defense. I don't know what Stidham's contract is. Now let's go look. I think over the cap. Where are we at? So this is his only season right here. So he's a free agent next year. And technically he's getting 1 million. He's actually getting 1 million this year. So I mean, okay, Derek Carr is getting 20 million. Stidham's getting 1 million. So he's getting 20 times the pay. So, I mean, it is what it is. But look, y'all, I just wanted to pull up real quick, talk the game with y'all. You know, it's been a little bit. Make sure y'all pull up tomorrow morning for Good Morning Nation. Y'all know what it is. We're going to talk more about this. We're going to talk about more what's going on with the team. We're going to talk about injuries because Jacobs was a little hobbled today. I think he may have a new injury we have to look into. And we're going to look at the film and see if we can see more. Shout out to our guy, Dwayne B. Before we go, we're going to go ahead and talk about his super chat real quick. He says, what about another 10-point blown lead? Can't blame Carr now, so who gets to blame now? Second half predictable play calling. I would say it's the defense. And honestly, the defense just was continuing to fold. But at the same time, we have to take in consideration. I said this earlier, Dwayne B. It's a good team. The 49ers is a good football team. We went to overtime with them. Now, obviously, we had a couple of bad plays. Everything is not going to be perfect, but at the same time, who else has played this well against the Niners? Nobody. The last time they've put up or gave up 30-plus points was 9 weeks ago against the Kansas City Chiefs. In the past 9 weeks, they haven't given up more than 30 points. So here are the Raiders giving up or putting up more than 30 points against this defense, number one in the league. You talk about on the flip side, the Niners offense has scored over 30 points against 5 of their last 8 opponents. So it's not like their offense is lacking either. They traded for Christian McCaffrey. That's probably why that has changed in this recent time in the last 8 weeks. But 49ers are good. And again, I blame the defense. If I have to answer your question, I totally blame the defense. They're giving up too many points. The offense, if the offense puts up 34, I expect the defense to hold the opponent to less points. But at the end of the day, we ended up losing. I think we still have to invest in the defense. Obviously, right? Because all of our money and capital was allocated to the offense this past season. So this upcoming offseason has to be the defense. Shout out to you, Dwayne B, for the super chat, though, man. I appreciate it. I do understand where you're coming from. Shout out to everybody that was here. I hope you guys can hit the like button. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this live and was able to have some fun. I'm not down. I'm excited to see what we have in Jarrett Stidham for next week's game against Kansas City Chiefs. I hope you guys had a good New Year's. Hope you guys have a great new year in 2023. We're starting off with a crazy way, but at the end of the day, man, it's Raider Nation. We got to stick together, and we got a lot to look forward to next year. We got a lot to look forward to. Hopefully, we make some great decisions going into this offseason and see what happens with the trade situation, Carr trade situation. So I appreciate everybody here. Until next time, y'all, ready to tape.